So here comes Yerzhan Zalilov from Kazakhstan, now boxing out of Russia. He's quite well travelled actually. 13 wins, 4 defeats, 2 draws. Boxed in Russia, Spain, Kazakhstan and Latvia. And he's got what I would describe as a real record. He's won the Kazakhstan Super Bantamweight title. That was in December 2021. And he's gone down the stretch with Yerzhan Zalilov over 8 rounds. Didn't win that fight, but Zalilov, a good pro, really good fighter. And in 2021 as well, a split draw with Vladimir Nikitin, who was a bronze medalist at the Rio Olympics. So in with a good level of opponents.
Золотой угол ринга. Добро пожаловать, боксер из Республики Таджикистан. Вохурет, Дастай, Таджикистан, Akmal Ubaidov.
Akmal Ubaidov, as you can see from the caption there, won the Asian Championships in Thailand last December. 5-0 as a pro. Turned pro actually back in 2021, so it's been relatively slow going since then. His last pro fight was back in October 2023 actually, a second round stoppage here in Dushanbe against Timur Ushakov. But boxing pro and amateur concurrently, it is always going to mean that that pro ledger takes a while to develop. This is his second time rather in IBA.PRO. He had a win by split decision in February
Я обращаю ваше внимание в черный угол ринга. Здесь, готовый к старту, титулованный казахстанский профессионал. Его рост 165 сантиметров, вес ровно в лимит весовой категории 57 килограммов и 200 граммов. Ему 32 года, и он успел испытать весь спектр боксерских эмоций. За карьеру он провел 19 непростых поединков, в их числе 13 побед, 7 из которых одержаны нокаутом, 4 поражения и 2 ничьи. Перед вами чемпион Казахстана среди профессионалов, чемпион СНГ и стран Балтии по версии WBC. Не снижая скорости, он по-прежнему заряжен брать новые высоты. Для настоящей ракеты и небо не предел. Из Казахстана, города Кокшетау, Ханымдар мен Мирзалар, Казахстаннан Yerzhan Zalilov. В золотом углу ринга уверенно стоит его соперник. Чемпион Азии по боксу из Душанбе, Республики Таджикистан. Ему 24 года, его рост 170 сантиметров, вес, как и у соперника, 57 килограммов 200 граммов. На профессиональном ринге он провел 6 боев, одержал 6 побед, 5 из которых нокаутом. Даркунджи Зарин, Баджан Омода, Акмал Ubaidov. И с ударом гонга рефери этого поединка Баграт Авоян, Армения.
Head up, no holding, no low blow, listen to me. Good luck.
So Ubaidov in the white, Zalilov in the black. This is 6 rounds in the featherweight division. And a lot of home support, as you can hear, as he made his way to the ring for Ubaidov. And that's the tale of the tape. He's a younger man, Ubaidov, quite substantially, but there's a good amount of experience on Zalilov's side there. As I said, he's been in with some good fighters. He's produced some decent results. He's won that national title in Kazakhstan at Super Bantamweight. So he's certainly not going to be intimidated in any way by the task he has on his hands here. He's the away corner fighter and he understands what comes with that. He's been in that role a good few times. Both of these two orthodox fighters, a flashing left hand there. He didn't land, but you can hear the reaction he got from the crowd. Just dipped his knees there and then threw the right hand into the body. Ubaidov plants his feet quite wide. Kind of hunches over, keeps that guard high. Those elbows do flare out. There's room to the body there for Zalilov. Zalilov looking to cover up himself there. You look at that guard that he's got, the elbows reaching down almost to the top of the belt line, so he just needs to drop those elbows in a little bit, and he's got that torso covered. Looks for a big smearing right hand over the top there, doesn't quite manage to land it. But if he can get close, that's where he wants to go, I think, really. Down to the body there, Zalilov, and you look at the way that he's set up there, Ubaidov, and really it's the fact that he leans onto that front foot a bit and does stoop forward and hunch over. That's what causes those elbows to come away from the body. Looks to try and get after Zalilov there, pushing him back towards the ropes. Just in and out with that front foot, but Zalilov not really falling for that, although he does try and climb into a lead left hook, which fell short by a good distance. Switching southpaw there, Ubaidov. Steps in and looks for the left hand into the body there, Ubaidov, and again another big roar from the crowd. Zalilov was pinned in the corner to an extent there, but I don't think he was in any real trouble. And I think he feels he may have just had a little bit of success there, Zalilov. He landed a right hand and then was quite quick to try and get after Ubaidov, and then just throws a reverse 1-2 right at the end of the round. I think the second punch may be on the bell or slightly after it, hence the raised glove in apology. Decent finish to the round there from Zalilov. Ubaidov up until that point was stalking, looking to try and bring that heat if he could, but wasn't too much between him in that opening round. Ubaidov was the busier of the two, you would say. But he's got a good, compact, solid look to him there, and that's a good example. He's just able to drop that left hand in, that left elbow in, and protect himself against the body shot. He did it there with the right hand, having just pulled off with his chin just tucked in nicely behind his shoulder and stay out of the way. So Zalilov he's an accomplished fighter. You can see that he absolutely knows what he's doing, and towards the end of the round there he just gave a bit more back offensively as well. Good right hand there from Zalilov, followed up by a lead left there too. They were just kind of standing right in front of each other, waiting for each other. And it was Zalilov who came off best. Ubaidov there just trying to set his feet and work the body. He's got long old arms on him, Ubaidov. You can see that. He really has got some levers, and it'll be good to see him just use that a little bit more. He's trying to just step his way onto the inside and let go with those hooks to the body, to the head. We haven't seen too many uppercuts yet, but I'm sure we will. But you look at the length of his arms there, when he almost lets them drop down by his side. They're practically down to his knees, the tips of his gloves. But you don't really see him jab, especially. He threw a jab there, but he's looking to move in behind the jabs, and again turns southpaw. This is where he wants to be, because he feels like he can dig his toes in and really do damage with those hooks in particular. Physically, he's got some real tools for Ubaidov, because you look at the width of that back there, he is strong. And he's looking to try and just get on top of Zalilov a bit here. He's got to keep that shape. Left hand into the body there was a good shot from Ubaidov. And again, I think that second one was maybe caught by the elbow. I don't think the first one was. Zalilov has got to be able to hit Ubaidov hard enough to keep him off him, basically, because if Ubaidov feels that he doesn't have any respect for what's coming back at him, then this is going to get difficult for Zalilov. And again, he dips his knees and looks to really hurl that right hand into the body. Counter right hand there from Ubaidov. Zalilov, I think, just managed to take the sting off it, but he's had a good round here so far, the home fighter. He is pretty uncomplicated. He keeps that guard in place and just looks to walk you down. And when he gets in range, he'll really work. As he is here, steps wide with the front foot and then lets that right hand go. And that's where he wants it, Ubaidov, absolutely there. Just gets his man back to the ropes. And you see the biting point, as I was talking about earlier. That's where you want it on those punches. That's almost perfect, really. About that 80% extension. He managed to take the sting off that right hand well, Zalilov. But it took him by surprise a little bit, I think, the fact that he shot that one straight down the middle, because he doesn't do that very often. And much like the fight we've just seen, 2 rounds in, and this is tough for Zalilov. As I mentioned, though, he is a well-drilled fighter. He absolutely knows what he's doing. He's got some shape and some discipline to him. But if Ubaidov can just continue to bring this heat, then I think there is a stoppage there for him. He's physically very strong. Looking to throw that jab there, Zalilov. And as I said, he has got to be able to put a little bit of doubt in the mind here of Ubaidov as he's moving forward. He's got to give him something to think about, something to respect, because otherwise he's just going to look to walk through him. And that's better from Zalilov. He knows it. He knows exactly what's going on here. He can't just tuck up and look to try and get through the rest of the fight that way. He's got to fight in bursts at times and look to land what he can. Slightly wild there, Ubaidov. Again, just in and out with that front foot. Zalilov doing a good job here, midway stage of round 3, not been caught with too much in this round so far. And just working that lead left hand. There's not that much on it, but he's throwing it enough to give Ubaidov something to think about. Then just dropped his hide and went with the right hand into the body, as again he did there. He stayed off those ropes for the most part. Left hand there from Ubaidov. This isn't where he wants to be here, but that was a decent counter right hand. Off the back of a left to the body from Ubaidov into the final minute of round 3. Goes southpaw again here, Ubaidov. Has looked pretty effective out of either stance. Clubbing left hand there from Ubaidov, and then there's that not quite straight right hand, but straighter right hand, which just caught Zalilov as he was looking to try and pull back out of range. Again, those are the eye-catching punches that have been landed during the course of the round, but Zalilov hasn't taken too much in round 3. Manages to get himself off the ropes back into the centre of the ring there. Left into the body there from Ubaidov. Got caught by a couple there from Zalilov, who negotiated that final exchange of the round pretty well. So halfway through this one, scheduled for 6. Again, it's a good fight to watch. We've got a man in the ascendancy boxing out of the gold corner. That's him, the home fighter, Akmal Ubaidov, Asian champion. The title he picked up at the end of last year, undefeated as a professional and in IBA.PRO. There's that left hand to the body, which he's defended himself against pretty well for the most part. And the right hand there from Ubaidov, as I said, it's not quite straight, but it's straighter than almost everything else that he throws.
10 секунд. Секундантный заряд. Четвертый раунд.
I think the referee wants a bit of moisture wiped up from the canvas in the corner of the ring there, but just signalling to the officials bench, and we get underway in the second half of the fight, the beginning of round 4, and immediately just piled in with the 1-2 there, Ubaidov. He steps in behind the right uppercut, which I think landed probably to the body, or maybe into the forearms. He's holding the centre of the ring here. Zalilov, not looking to try and retreat. Left hand into the body from Zalilov is decent. Good left uppercut there from Zalilov. And I like this from him because he's choosing to stay within punching range here, choosing to stay in the pocket. I think feeling like close is a little bit safer for him. What he can't do is get caught on the end of those long hooks, and he got caught by a couple there. But he's backing himself up close here. There's our long right hand again. It almost caught him. See what his thinking is, because when you look at Ubaidov, you feel like for Zalilov, he either needs to be all the way out or all the way in. He can't get caught in that mid-range, that mid-distance. Right hand there from him, gets him off the ropes and looks for the uppercut. And so far in this round, this is working for him, because this is giving Ubaidov something to really think about here. And he looks for that big winging overhand right again there. He's not been able to get the range that he needs in this round so far, Ubaidov. Good jab there from Zalilov too. He needs that middle range where he can just rein in those hooks. Too tight, and the length of those levers works against him. That's cheeky, the left hand there from Ubaidov. I think the call to break there or to stop boxing had been given by the referee. And he caught Zalilov with a left hand, and he's just having a conversation with him now. And if he makes the judgment that that was late, then he should give him some time to recover here, and Zalilov should take it. He should absolutely take it. Fighters don't often. You could tell that it did register with him, because the dangerous thing about getting caught by a punch late like that is if the referee is given the instruction to stop boxing and you stop boxing, then you relax. And then you get hit with something and you're not braced for it. And you can see there he's not braced for it, Zalilov. And the referee there, I think, should take a point here. He should take a point here, because that was careless. And quite simply against the rules. He can be given up to 5 minutes to recover here, Zalilov. I think the referee will have decided that this was an unintentional late blow, so an accidental foul, if you like, much like a low blow. And in that scenario, you can be given 5 minutes to recover. If he doesn't feel at the end of 5 minutes like he's in any fit condition to continue, Zalilov, then the referee has got a decision to make. Ultimately, he will have to decide whether he feels that he believes Zalilov or not. And if he decides that he does believe him and that that punch, that late punch, has taken too much away from him, then it will be a win by disqualification for Zalilov. But very, very rarely do you see fighters either go down that route, looking to win by that route when maybe they could continue, or in a condition at the end of that 5 minutes where they genuinely can't. But he's taking his time here, Zalilov, which he is absolutely entitled to do, because that was a late punch. There's just no question about it. It was a late punch, you can see there. I couldn't really tell, I couldn't really hear how direct the instruction from the referee was. And again there, he's done something that I've seen referees do a bit in recent times I really don't like. He's kind of pulled at a glove there, the referee. Now, either you give the instruction to stop boxing or you don't. There's no need to interfere in any other way. It's either break, stop boxing, or it isn't. Pulling at gloves helps nobody. And he's just having a discussion with the officials at ringside here. Zalilov, again, you could see that he was hurt by that punch because it was late. And as I say, the really dangerous thing about it is that if you hear the instruction, the order to stop, and you stop, then you relax. And that means that if you do get hit and get hit clean, then it's going to have a proper impact, because, as I described it, those brace mechanisms that you employ during the course of a fight to soak up a punch. You see a punch coming, you brace yourself, you're ready for it, you soak it up. That's the problem. Some boos coming from the crowd here, but they need to understand what has happened here. And Zalilov just talking to his own corner. And they will quite simply be telling him, listen, if you don't feel like you're okay to continue here, then we can't continue. They're giving him a little drink. It was working the jaw a touch, which makes me wonder slightly whether there could be some damage there. But he is going to continue. He is going to continue. But quite right that he took all of that time. Quite right that he took all of that time. And the referee is taking the point. And I think this is a satisfactory conclusion to that episode, because it was a late punch. There's no question about that. And the referee is just going to take the 1 point. He could have taken 2. That's the maximum you can take. If you take 2, then you are essentially saying that it was a serious, deliberate late blow. Serious foul play, if you like. He was having a decent round there, Zalilov, as well. The big shots really had probably still come from Ubaidov, but I thought he boxed a clever fight in that 4th round, because he took it up close. He was brave, actually. But we'll have to wait and see how much that late blow was taken away from him, because you could see when it landed, the reaction he gave, that it did register. It had a serious impact. Still just shaking his head a little bit there, still working that jaw. So into the 5th. Left hand into the body there from Ubaidov. And Ubaidov really looking to try and get on top of Zalilov here. Zalilov, though, again, just managing to avoid getting hit with anything too heavy, then looks to try and come back with a counter right hand of his own. Maybe feeling that the heads came together on the inside there, Zalilov, and this is getting quite torrid for him as we enter the second half of round 5. Just trying to measure the uppercut there, Ubaidov. Maybe just a bit too deliberate with it. And I think possibly that lengthy delay has just knocked him slightly out of his rhythm as well. 1-2 there, just went mainly into the gloves. Closing stages of round 5. 1 to go after this. Good right hand there from Zalilov. And he just hasn't managed to find that distance in the last round or so, Ubaidov. And you have to give Zalilov credit for that, because you could see him there as he's pushing it back towards the ropes. He's letting his hands go, but he's too close. But there's Zalilov again, just doing a good job of staying out of the way of most of that artillery there from Ubaidov. So the 6th and final round coming up. And Ubaidov will be in front here, never mind the point deduction. Zalilov's played a good part in this fight, and he's landed some decent shots, but the volume and the real aggression has come from Ubaidov, and if he could just settle a little bit, then I think he could get something done in the 6th and final round. He was trying to force things a bit too much in that 5th. That is kind of his style. He gets onto the front foot, he lets his hands go, but any fighter, whatever their style, if they're that little bit too tight and they're, as I say, just trying to force things a bit too much, then it won't work. He maybe just needs to slow things down a touch. Left hand into the body there from Ubaidov was decent, as was the 1-2, and this is better. He's found a better range right from the start of round 6. Good left hand into the southpaw stance, set that right foot wide and just ploughed it into the stomach, and he's looking to really just club away at Zalilov here. Trying to move his head, trying to get off those ropes, but it's a tough job for him. He's doing pretty well though there, just bobbing and weaving off the ropes. That's good defence from the Kazakh fighter. And again there, not a lot is landing. Right hand over the top there from Zalilov into the final minute of the fight. Zalilov just gathering himself there. You could almost see, I think, for just this last effort here. But he's given good value. And Ubaidov at times has looked like what he is, which is a swashbuckling, rewarding, entertaining kind of a fighter. He's not going to be in dull fights, Akmal Ubaidov, that's for sure. But he's not going to get the stoppage here. Crunching right hand lands right on the bell. A touch of gloves between the two. And a big ovation from the crowd. And now we just await the decision as they cut those gloves off. A second fight in IBA.PRO, as I mentioned, for Ubaidov. Won his first in February last year by a split decision over the 6 rounds on that occasion. And these cards are always well matched. You do have the formula of home fighter and away fighter, as we had in this one, but in Zalilov they recruited somebody who, if Ubaidov hadn't have been on his game tonight, then he could have found more than a handful. And that's what you want. You always want somebody in the nominal away corner, if you like, who, according to the script, isn't really expected to win. You want them to have enough about them to be able to really push the prospect. And as I say, do more than that. If it turns out they're not quite on their game, there has to be jeopardy attached to every fight that you see, otherwise there really isn't too much point. What level of jeopardy is to be determined by managers and promoters and trainers at times, but there has to be a level, even on your way up, even in the early stages. You look to taper that level up as you move through towards the bigger prizes, but there's always got to be something at stake. There's always got to be that whiff of danger, or you just won't get the performance levels that you're looking for, and the whole exercise, as I say, becomes a little bit futile. So Sergey pretty much ready, I think, with the announcement.
Ваши аплодисменты соперников. Это Акмал Убайдов и Yerzhan Zalilov. Это был хороший бой. Но хорибай хупбуд. Этот поединок продлился всю отведенную дистанцию. И по его завершении единогласным решением судей свою 7-ю кряду профессиональную победу одержал боксер из Республики Таджикистан Акмал Ubaidov.
So Ubaidov with the win by unanimous decision, but he'll have learnt plenty in there tonight. I think Zalilov pushed him, and they have to make sure that he doesn't land any punches after the instruction to stop boxing like he did in that 5th round, because that was almost a big problem for him. That was almost a big problem. It was a point deduction, but it could have been more. But as I said, he's a good fighter to watch. He's got plenty of support. He's not going to be in dull fights. He's the kind of guy you can get behind. In the second round, I think he did do some damage, Ubaidov, and I was thinking if he could click through the gears in the second half of the fight, he might be able to overwhelm Zalilov. But Zalilov in the second half did box well. He stayed in the pocket, he backed himself up close, and he made it difficult for Ubaidov, as I said, really to find that distance. The interruption in the fifth, although not good for Zalilov, because there's a late blow. You can see the way his legs give way there and he goes down into the ropes. He did feel that because it's a strong shot and he wasn't ready for it. Although that didn't help him, the delay, I think, maybe just knocked Ubaidov out of his stride slightly.
От всей команды IBA.PRO хочется сказать спасибо руководству республики, города и каждому жителю республики Таджикистан.
But that's 6 good rounds.
За теплую встречу, за прекрасный чистый город, за гостеприимство, за улыбающиеся лица, полные семей с детьми, улыбающихся детей, зеленых чинаров, чистейшей воды, новых зданий, древней культуры. Все это в самое сердце каждого из гостей. Спасибо вам большое. Ташакур из Йод Башумо.